The last thing that we need to do to complete this owl is draw the owl's legs and feet. We can use any one of the drawing tools that we've looked at so far in this course. We could use the pen tool, the brush tool, the pencil tool, the blob brush tool. It's completely up to you. Before we draw the legs and the feet, though, I do want to make some modifications to the owl. So the first thing that I want to do is make the owl's stomach a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and select this oval, and I'm just going to increase the width by dragging the left handle to the left and the right handle to the right. Now, if you increase it so much where the stomach is now going beyond the defined body area, just increase the height of the circle a little bit so it doesn't do that. And then if you click away from it, you can just verify that it looks good. So I may have to nudge this up using the up arrow keys on the keyboard, but I think that looks good. The other thing that I want to do is update the owl's eyes a little bit. Now remember, we have grouped objects here. So what we're going to do is delete this eye, believe it or not. Then we're going to come over and double click this eye. Before we do that, you want to zoom into it. Remember, you can access the zoom tool by holding down the space bar and the command key in the Mac. It's space control on Windows. Then double click to enter isolation mode. Again, we haven't talked about grouped objects in great detail, but we will get there in the next course. And we just want to decrease the black a little bit. So go ahead and select the black circle, hold down the Option key, Alt on Windows, and the Shift key, click and drag to make this circle a little bit smaller. The last thing that you want to do is select the circle behind it, and you want to change the fill color, because right now the fill color is the same as this larger circle in the background. So I'm going to come over and just change this to something else completely. Maybe I'll go with this color here, so it is different. If you click this back button, you'll get back to the document. So select the eye, hold down the Alt key on Windows, Option on the Mac, click and drag it to the left to duplicate it and position it where you want. And I think that looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and zoom out. Like I said, I do think that's looking a little bit better. You may want to change that color in between the white and the black to something even brighter. Let's go ahead and do that quickly. So I'm going to delete this eye again. I'm going to double click this and select this back circle. And I want to change it to something brighter, maybe something with a little bit more orange or a little bit more yellow. So I'll come over and select this color, which is really orange. I think that should be okay, but if you wanted to, you could come over and maybe adjust the opacity a little bit, bring it down to 70%. Then you can click this back button to get back to the document, and I think that adds a little bit more contrast. So again, I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key and drag this over to the right. So as you work with the owl, you're going to find things that you want to change. That's just the way it is when you're creating artwork. You'll take a step back, you'll look at it, and you'll make some modifications. And who's to say that these modifications are the right modifications? I don't know. I would probably want to change this further if I continued to look at it. But nevertheless, I think we're ready to draw the owl's legs. So I'm going to pan up here a little bit by holding down the space bar so I can temporarily activate the hand tool. I'm going to move the stomach over a little bit. I think I want it to look a little bit more symmetrical. I think that does the trick. Then I'm going to come over and choose the blob brush tool. With the blob brush tool, I want to choose a black fill color. At this point, it looks like the brush tip is a little bit too large. You can use the left bracket key on your keyboard to decrease it. And then you just want to click and drag out a leg. And then he probably wants some toes. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag. I don't know if these are called toes or talons or what, but there we go. And so if you're happy with that, you can come over and highlight the selection tool, select the foot, hold down the Alt or Option key, click and drag to the right to duplicate it, and now he has his feet. So there's our owl. And again, it's still a work in progress. We will come back to this owl in the next course when we begin to talk about color in greater detail. But for now, I think this is a pretty good starting point. And if you want to make modifications, feel free. Like I said, it is a starting point. So there's a good chance once we learn more about color and we get more comfortable with the drawing tools, we may want to come in here and make some enhancements.